are going to take a look at the address spoofing lab here today in this demonstration. And we're going to start off with task one, which is spoofing using Nmap. So when we're spoofing, in this case, we're going to be spoofing our IP address. And one of the challenging things about IP spoofing is that we're spoofing our IP, so that means packets are not going to be returned to the attacker. When I attack something, I'm using a fake ID or IP address, and instead the packets are going to be sent to the spoofed address, right? So um, the attacker tricks a host on the network to believe that the address they're applying to is the attacker's, but really it's the address of the targeted machine on the network. So in order to see those packet responses, we would have to forward the packets to the correct IP address, but that defeats the entire purpose of what we're trying to do in keeping anonymous as an attacker. So that's why we're going to use Wireshark for this. This is in particular, we're doing this during an Nmap scan, which is a scan of the network. And Wireshark that we're going to use in this case is a tool that is used for capturing network traffic and investigating that traffic. So it's a pretty powerful tool in cybersecurity, and that's what we're going to use today. So let's dive in. So first off, we're going to open up Wireshark. And so I can go up here to the top corner in Kali Linux, and I can just start typing Wireshark, and that's already a tool that's there. If we're already if we're prompted for a password, should be student in this lab. Good. And so we've got Wireshark open here. And so we can see a whole lot of options. Wireshark is a pretty complex tool that has a lot of features that go far beyond what we're going to do in this lab. But we're going to start off by looking at double-clicking on ETH0 or ETH0, talking about the Ethernet port on this device, or the Ethernet adapter on this device, I should say. And now we need to apply a filter. There's a lot of stuff going on. We can see so much going on our screen right now with Wireshark, and that's all traffic that's coming through to this computer. So we apply filters because there's a lot of stuff that we're really not concerned about in what we're trying to do, whether we're spoofing or doing something else in Wireshark. We would apply filters so that we can investigate traffic at a more narrow scale. So in the lab, we're given the filter we're going to use, and I need to have the spoofed source. I'm going to just type this out like this, equals, and then I'm going to type it as it's seen in the lab, and then I'm going to get my IP addresses. So that's going to be the spoofed source, right? What's in those carets there. So I'm going to have to find that in a moment. And then I'm going to have the spoofed address as well. So basically what we're saying with this filter is I'm looking for these two IP addresses to be true. So spoof source is your attacker IP address, right? So that's the device that we are on at this moment. So to find that, I'm going to open up the terminal right here. And I'm going to type ifconfig. That gives me my information about connecting to networks. And I'm looking for the inet address, again under ETH0. So I'm going to look right up here. Perfect. And might be helpful to sometimes write these things down. So this is the spoofed, like we said, this is the attacker address. Okay, 10.1.94.213. So this is the spoof. So I'm going to replace this right here with 101. Oops. 10.1.94.213. And now we've got to get the spoofed address. And that is the target machine that's on this network. So when we started this up, there's actually two machines also networked here, right? The one that we're using to attack, and then also a target machine. And so we're going to find that machine now. We know the name of the machine. It's called target.example.com. And so I need some information about that. So I'm going to do nslookup target.example.com. And our non-authoritative answer is what we're looking for here, our non-authoritative server. So that's the address there that I see. That's 10.1.83.214. And I should feel pretty good that this number is relatively similar to the IP address of the spoofing machine, which makes sense since we are working on they're on the same network, right? So I'm going to put that in here. I got 10.1.83.214. And we've lit up in green, so that means I've got a good filter there. Of course, your IP addresses are likely or quite possibly different than the numbers I just put in, so make sure you're doing those on your machine as we go through this. And so now we are ready to get back to the terminal and conduct an Nmap scan. So again, an Nmap scan is helping us look around the network and see what's out there. So I'm gonna, in my terminal again, why don't I clear this just so it's clear for us? Nmap-s. Now I need the attacker IP address, which in this case was 10.1.94.213. -e fxp0 -pn -t4 -f. Now I need my target IP address, which was 10.1.83.214. And then we're almost ready to run the command. 2 greater than /dev/null. So a couple of notes about the command are in the lab that might be worth taking a look at. But they get pretty advanced there, and so we're not going to spend too much time worrying about all of the different features of that nmap scan command that we're running right now. But let's go ahead and run this command. So good, we just ran the command, had a successful run there, didn't run into any errors. And so we can see that source. Oh, did I run this in Wireshark? I'm going to hit enter there. And we can see the packets that matched our filter there, right? I've got my source IP address matching that, my destination IP address matching that. So I've got the packets that I needed from there, and that's a successful spoof.